How many nights does it take to count the stars? That's the time it would take to fix my heart. Oh, baby, I was there for you. All I ever wanted was the truth. Yeah, yeah. How many nights have you wished someone would stay? Lie awake, only hoping they're okay. I'll never count it all on my...
They just can't stop making hits, man.
Who?
One Direction.
Oh, is that who this is?
Yeah, they can't. For those of you who wondered, that song is called Infinity, off of their latest album, In the AM.
For those of you that were like, God, that's great. What is that? I got to download it.
Yep, you can go to iTunes and look for One Direction, O-N-E, Direction. Welcome to the Bill and Joe Show. Joe, welcome back.
Hello.
We are, of course, brought to you by TomSlayton.com, SLATIN.com. I'm not going to defend my One Direction love anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do it. I'm tired of doing it.
I think that ship sailed a while ago.
Well, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like everywhere I go, I have to defend liking a band.
Yeah.
You know, like 50 million people can't be wrong, you know?
You realize 48 million of them are under 12.
Well, that's actually not true. When I was at the concert, I saw quite a few girls that could drive a car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not under 12.
Okay.
It kind of spans, but yeah, great band. Love their album. Great album. Speaking of rock stars, though, I did want to get to this. Hence, I'm wearing the flannel.
Okay.
Danielle bought me a flannel shirt because I guess flannel's making a comeback. Okay.
All right.
And flannel, of course, to you and I, meant grunge, Seattle, Nirvana,
Yeah.
Pearl Jam.
It left your dad's closet and became everything everyone wore.
And it's really all
Everywhere.
we ever wore. You and I both. Like, we had matching hair back then, and we wore pretty much a flannel shirt with jeans.
Sure.
Almost everywhere we went.
Yeah.
So no wonder people thought we were twins. And I'd like to get to that story that happened in the Hardys over at the mall.
Okay.
But speaking of the flannel shirt, of course, the ex-lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots, Scott Weiland, he was found dead in his tour bus.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to talk about it because, I mean, STP, Scott Weiland, didn't play nearly as big of a musical influence on me as he did for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was your take on this? Because I know I texted you that day and you wrote back that you would hope that he was going to turn it around, but
yeah, he was only 48. And I talked about this with some other friends of mine that liked him a lot. Like their second album.
Now, was that Core?
No, that was Purple.
Oh, okay.
It actually it doesn't say the name of it anywhere, but a true fan knows it's called Purple.
Okay.
And it was like that was the one with the Interstate Love Song.
Sure.
And I love that album. Like it was my first concert with a mosh pit.
Whoa, okay.
We snuck in, we danced, we moshed. No crowd surfing, but there was people above me doing it. It was
Right.
it was a great experience. I have nothing but love for those guys. And then of course Velvet Revolver was cool, but it wasn't the same.
Sure.
And then
Velvet Revolver was with Slash and Duff.
Yeah.
And Matt from Guns N' Roses.
right,
Weiland was singing.
they had the super group, and their second album was pretty bad.
Was it?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Oh,
It was like every song was like, oh man, they're just phoning it in.
really?
And you could tell that Weiland was kind of running the show because you're like, this doesn't sound anything like Slash or Duff.
So did he go like more like industrial?
No, it was just got weird, and he was in a weird stage of his music writing. Was like he always sang. He just sang in this weird register, and he was like transforming, which is fine for an artist. Do
Sure.
it, but he just wasn't. And then STP gets back together, and they do another album, and it was awful. It was
Now that's the one with the girl on the front wearing
No.
like a a swim hat?
No, that's from like 1996.
Okay. Well, okay. What was that? Was that the album with the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, their latest album came out like 5 years ago.
Oh, okay. That recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was awful. You could tell that they just like got together for 4 weeks and was like, okay, let's put together. Let's just write an album, and there it is. And it sounded like, well, they wrote the music, and then Scott went and recorded vocals, and it's done.
Right.
It just wasn't. It didn't sound like they spent much time on it.
Okay.
And it didn't sound like STP. It was just like disappointing. And then Scott Weiland's solo record was disappointing. Everything was getting disappointing, and I had been disappointed so much that I was like, this guy's never going to do anything as great as he did before. Sure. And I just had to. So I kind of buried them, STP and Scott Weiland, a long time ago. And then to hear that he died was really sad, but it was not surprising. It was like, it was kind of like Lane Staley. When a friend,
I didn't see that coming.
A friend called me and was like, "Oh my God, Lane Staley just died. I just heard it." And my reaction was kind of the same, like, "Oh, huh,
that makes sense.
That sucks." Well, it was on its way.
Yeah,
so
I can see that. I mean, it was I don't know, 3 months ago, maybe 5 months ago. I don't know. There was this video on Facebook of Weiland singing with his new band. He was singing an old STP song. I couldn't tell you what the name of it was, but it went viral because of just how trashed he was.
Oh yeah,
and he was up on stage, just couldn't remember the lyrics. Like it was awful.
Yeah.
It was really embarrassing to see him like that. And then I don't know how much you've read up on what's going on, but his wife wrote an open letter.
Yeah, I read that
to the public, and I thought that was a bit shitty. I thought
you could tell she was like already, she was bitter, and she like just reacted, just like through this to, she wrote this letter and like put it out. She didn't, whenever you tweet something or do anything, you kind of, and you're emotional, you kind of want to like hit save,
right,
and at least give it 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I feel like she just like wrote it up. I was like, yep, fuck it, send it.
And I'm not saying that anything that she said sounds unrealistic.
I'm sure it's all true.
I mean, I'm sure that it is. It also sounded like she was promoting a book that she's working on. Like she was trying to promote.
No, she already wrote a book.
Oh, she already wrote a book. So
yeah, it was already published.
Maybe to spike sales for the book.
No, I think she was just mentioning that to protect him, she didn't
tell everything.
She didn't tell the whole story because she wanted to keep him painted in this rock star life.
Well, thanks for fucking wasting all those people's money by buying who bought that book. And then you come out later and be like, oh, yeah, that was all bullshit.
Well, it's not that was bullshit, but she held back.
She held back, yeah.
She didn't tell the whole story.
I don't know. It sounded like completely accurate. And, when he was first found dead and then his current girlfriend said, no, he's been sober for months. Then the cops, search his tour bus. They find cocaine, crack, Viagra. I mean, he seems like he had a lot of shit in his system, which would, of course, lead to...
Right.
But it was cardiac arrest, wasn't it?
That's what they said, yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. You're right. Speaking of Lane Staley, of Alice in Chains, like, I never saw that coming. And Weiland, I'm surprised he made it this far. I guess. I mean, I just always expected Weiland to be that. Like, I never have thought of Eddie Vedder and been like, oh, that guy's going off the deep end.
Yeah.
So... I expected Axl to be dead by now.
I thought, like, Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon.
Right.
That was a total surprise to me.
Right.
I didn't realize he was that deep into drugs. I thought, oh, he's a hippie kind of guy. He's doing pot, probably shrooming.
Smoking some weed.
But, man, he was, he died. And same thing, when you watch There Behind the Music, his wife kind of had the same reaction that Weiland's did.
Right.
She was, like, just mad, pissed that he... because they got a daughter.
Right.
And she was just, you could tell she was pissed that he went and killed himself, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, ultimately, that's what they all did.
And that sucks for them. So, like, I think they've got a good point where they've got their family.
Right.
But the world loves this guy.
Right.
And they don't care that he's a drug addict. They want him to be a drug addict because he's a rock star.
Right.
And they want to see that lifestyle because... someone has to do it, and they glorify it. And
sure.
where I think what Weiland's wife was kind of saying was like, don't do that. Don't
Right.
put him on this pedestal. He was a drug addict. He didn't spend time with his kids.
Right.
He was a fucking loser. He was a
took,
failure.
like 15 photos over the course of 10 years with his family.
And she's like, and now I got to look at all the accolades and all. What a great man. Blah.
Right.
Yeah. She's like, fuck that.
I mean, no, I totally agree with everything that she said. I just thought it was, I don't know, maybe too soon. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm not a big Weiland follower, but it just seemed a little bit, I don't know. It seemed a little bit wrong, I guess. I don't know. Speaking of like being a rock star, how do you think that we would have handled that? I was just asked that the other day.
Being famous.
Yeah, like if it was a buddy of mine. It was the first time that he ever heard that we went out to New York, and I told him about the time that we went to Hooters.
Yeah.
And the Hooters was connected to that bar that had open stage. Mm-hmm. And we went up to play open stage, but we got hammered first, and Brian was pissed off at his girlfriend outside.
It was on the phone fighting with her when it was time for us to play.
Yeah, so you and I just went up and just really...
Two-man show.
Yep. And he had never heard of that, and he was like, "So wait a minute, where else did you play?" I was like, "Well, we played Spook Handies a couple of times."
You know, Spook.
And we actually had a slot lined up for CBGBs, but we couldn't do it because Brian had that interview. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were about to light the time. So he was like, "I think that you would make a horrible rock star." And I was like, "Why is that?" And he's like, "I don't know, just think about it." So, I mean, it was kind of dropped. I think one of the kids came in and started wrestling around, so I hadn't thought about it. But then I started thinking about that after this whole Weiland thing happened. How good do you think that, just speaking of yourself and how well you know me, how good of rock stars do you think that we would have made?
I don't know, because you have to imagine we'd evolve into that... like whatever lifestyle is thrown at you, we're good at adapting.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of take on whatever the world throws at us.
Sure.
If we were to scrounge around in apartments for 10 years out there, and hand to mouth.
Talk about that Philadelphia apartment, that the breakfast nook was going to be my bedroom.
Oh, yeah. You couldn't even fit a mattress in there. Your feet would have been hanging out. From the curtain you were going to hang to be your bedroom.
Because I didn't want to pay as much rent as you guys, so I just was we're going to look at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, so we can adapt well.
So I don't know, that's really tough. I mean, no, I don't think that we were prepared to be someone like that. If success were to happen to us overnight, I think we would probably look back at footage of us now and just put our face in our hands, just like, oh, that's so embarrassing. I can't believe I wore that. I can't believe I said that. I can't believe those were my points of view. And I said that on TV,
Right.
I feel like I would just be embarrassed about myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I also worry that I don't think that we would be able to, handle the press very well.
Yeah.
For some reason or another. Like, I feel like we would feel like certain things were off limits and we're not going to talk about them. And I don't think we're not good at, giving the public relation perfect answer to a tough question, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I just get tired of hearing that from everybody. Like, why even listen to like an interview with a quarterback?
I know.
Why even listen to it?
Nothing ever happens. Why do they even do those interviews?
I know. I don't understand why he's required to come here and you guys ask him the same dumb questions and he keeps giving you the same bland. We played. If you lost, well, we played. We didn't play hard enough today, but it's my fault. I put my team in a bad position.
What do you want me to say?
Right. I mean, just be like, it's fucking bullshit. The fucking Greg.
That's what they're hoping for.
Right, but
it doesn't happen.
It never happens. They're trained superstars, rock stars in their own right.
So and then you have your other guys like your Bill Belichick's or your Marshawn Lynch's who will sit there and just say the same thing over and over again.
Right.
Just hoping that you, as the reporter, get so bored
right.
that you just let me go.
Right.
And they do it every time. And I don't understand that either. But yeah, I think we probably would have never said no to anything. Like, hey, they want you to play this, and then they want you to play this, and then we would have strung ourselves out, and I think we would have been full blown alcoholics.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if we would have gotten into the heavy drugs, but
I don't think so.